this is TCN English News Edition, and you're watching with me, Nim Hoi Kim Kong Sai. First, the headlines. Kuki-Zaw areas of Churachandpur comes under heavy attacks by state-sponsored Meitei extremists. Saikot MLA criticizes Rajkumar IMO Singh's allegations against ITLF. SSDC asks central government to seize sophisticated weapons owned by state government, initiate probe into looted arms from armories. News in detail. A fresh round of violence with indiscriminate guns and bomb attacks have been reported in the strife zone hit Manipur since early this morning at around 2:30 a.m. on Friday. The Kuki-dominated areas of Mulsang, Laika and Gelzang under Churachandpur district, adjoining the Meitei's Bishnupur district, came under heavy attacks by a combined team of extremists from around Baitingal, Meitei Lipun, proscribed Meitei militants and police commandos, leading to heavy exchange of gunfire between the two warring communities. The Kuki village volunteers present in the area defended the Meitei's aggressive action by firing hand-made cannon, Pumpi, leading to the damage of two buildings belonging to Meitei community. Pumpi were fired from the nearby hill areas of Churachandpur district towards the low-lying Meitei armed groups positioned in Chonglaubi, which is around 45 kilometers from the state capital of Imphal. The gun battle lasted for a few hours, after which the Central Security Forces intervened and the firing subsided. However, the Meitei extremists regrouped once again, and another round of aggressive attack erupted again at around 1,200 hours, and the gun firing resumed until the filing of this report. The Meitei militants resorted to heavy selling of bombs towards the Kuki areas, due to which the civilians in the areas have been forced to be evacuated. Until the filing of this report, there is no report of casualties from border-warring communities. According to sources, the estimated range of the bombs fired towards the Kukis from the Meitei's localities was more than 3 kilometers. Tension is high in other vulnerable areas of the Kukis bordering the Meitei-dominated areas of Kota, Torbung, Kumbi, etc. Mention may be made that the central government had approved the use of medium machine guns, MMG, for the communal police commandos of Manipur amid the rising escalations of the state-sponsored ethnic cleansing program against the Kukis. Till the time of assimilating this news, it is highly suspected that the medium machine gun, MMG, would be used to attack the minority ethnic group in the near future. On the other hand, no casualties are reported except a local elderly man was killed and other 5 injured. It has been reported that local-made surface-to-surface ballistic missile attack by a Baitingal armed group mistakenly hit at ex-Chief Minister late M. Koireng's house in Moirang, Sendra Road. The deceased is identified as R.K. Rabe, 70 years of Moirang, Phewangbam Laikai. Injured persons are identified as Salam Nana, 40 years of Sendra Road, Galena Mairambam, 13, Rajiv Bobo, 58, Kongzengbam Zogindro, 52 of Moirang, Oksongbung, Ngagom Ibobi. In view of the situation, firing is still intense from both sides till filing of this report. Emergency curfew has been imposed in Churachandpur district. Pauline Lal Hokip, MLA from 59 Saikot ST Assembly constituency, has criticized fellow MLA Rajkumar IMO Singh for making what he described as baseless allegations against the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, ITLF. Hokip's remark come amid escalating ethnic tensions and violence in Manipur. Hokip condemned Singh's claim that ITLF, a civil society organization working for the Kuki community, is involved in terrorist activities. He argues that these allegations are not only unfounded, but also harmful to the efforts of ITLF, which has been a strong advocate for peace and justice in the region. Accusing ITLF without credible evidence is misleading and an affront to tribal communities seeking harmony amidst ongoing violence, Halkip stated. He suggested that Singh should redirect his focus towards Meitei civil society organizations like Kokomi and the Halmi federations, which Halkip accuses of contributing to unrest by remaining silent on significant issues, such as the looting of state armories by Meitei groups. Halkip also highlighted the severe impact of the conflict on the Kuki community, including loss of life, destructions of property, and ongoing displacement. He criticized the lack of condemnations from Meitei leaders regarding those atrocities and called for a political solution through the establishment of Union Territory with legislature for the Kuki people. Halkip urged the government of India to expedite measures for peace and security, stressing the need for thorough investigations into the LA's militarizations and the leaked audio tapes involving the chief minister. Earlier on September 4, Rajkumar Imo Singh called for the organization's Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, ITLF, to be declared a banned organization. The MLA stated that if allegations of the group procuring lethal drones, arms and ammunition, including bombs, to attack innocent people are true, they should be banned under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Singh expressed concerns about the involvement of highly trained professionals and experts. He questioned the identity of individuals with ITLF IDs and those training people to attack civilians. Singh emphasized that under Indian law, the government can ban individuals and organizations from spreading terror. He urged Manipur police to investigate thoroughly and arrest those involved in such activities. Singh described the situation not just as an ethnic conflict but an act of terror and waging war against India and the people of Manipur. Earlier on September 2, Rajkumar Imo Singh expressed deep concern over the current situations in Manipur in a letter to Home Minister Amit Shah. He stated that acts of terror by illegal armed militants and terrorists have resulted in the death of 2 individuals, including an innocent women and injuries to children and security forces. Singh noted that this violence occurred right after a peace rally was conducted across the state. He emphasized that this is not merely an ethnic conflict, but acts of terror by illegal armed groups against the state of Manipur. Singh pointed out that the conflict has been ongoing for 15 to 16 months since May last year, and despite expectations for a political dialogue to bring a peaceful solution, certain groups continue to perpetuate violence. In response to recent development as seen from the letter of Gautam Singh, IPS Assistant Director, Manipur Police Training College, Pangay addressed to Colonel GS 57 Mountain Division, Manipur dated 4 September 2024. The Sangaikot Subdivision Chiefs Association, SSDCA, issued a press release saying it has clearly revealed that the government of Manipur has been unabatedly procuring more and more warfare equipment and sophisticated weapons, and the latest of which is that 7.62 mm MMG Mk2AI, in addition to its earlier acquisitions of bulletproof vehicles, into its custody. Meanwhile, a reason resorted to purchasing the weapons made by the government due to deteriorating law and order situations is considered ridiculous and devoid of justifications in any manner. If it was solely a problem of law and order, other than ethnic conflict between 2 communities as claimed by the government, then why the state government has not yet started to disarm their VBIGs and Arambai Tingle from holding their guns and return back all looted arms and ammunition to state armories. But it is solely absolutely not, and the weapons were obviously meant to be used for attacking the minority Kukizo community based on mere excuses of law and order situations. The emergence of these new developments are a clear indication of state government office full preparations to intensify the ongoing ethnic cleansing drive against the minority Kukizo community by majority Meitei community once the MMG trainees have completed their training at MPTC, Pangay, in due course of time, and it is very alarming trends, and the consequences will be an irreparable loss, and it will bring instability in the region. The release further stated, SSGC seriously urges upon the Ministries of Home Affairs and Defense, Government of India, to exercise their constitutional authority to seize all these weapons like MMG and bulletproof vehicles, MPV, from the custody of Manipur government and place them in safe locations under Indian armed supervision on some specific grounds, such as whatever warfare equipments and sophisticated weapons now in possession of the state government are as good as in possession of their VBIGs and around Baitingal, and there is no exception to all of them. In the current ethnic conflict, a lot of evidences have been shown in many instances whereby the state forces are closely working hand and glove with their VBIGs, and around Baitingal, in the ongoing state sponsor of ethnic persecutions meted out towards minority Kukisa. In the event of failure to take away these war weapons from the custody of Manipur government, then the constitutional obligations binding upon the Indian government may likely to become a compromise formula to that extent with abandoned outfits like Meitei Valley-based insurgent groups, VBIGs, and around Baitingal, the looter of arms and ammunition from state armories. Hence, these critical issues raised above with respect to Manipur government are needed to be resolved urgently and give them an exemplary. If not, how the authorities concerned can prevent the other stakeholders in trying to undertake a similar approach in future. Yesterday at around 10:24 p.m., Meitei militants attacked people working in a field near the Mori-Burma border. According to reliable sources, the militants ambushed Thongkhawau Lupo, son of Ngamzapao Kipgant, and his friend Thang Nieu. Unfortunately, Thongkhawau, who was unarmed, lost his life on the spot. Thang Nieu was rushed to Mori Hospital but was later referred to Lamka Hospital in an ambulance due to the severity of his injuries. Village volunteers responded promptly to the incident, engaging in a firefight with the militants, which likely saved Thang Nieu's life. Thang Nieu is currently receiving medical care, while Thongkhawau's body has been buried today. This incident underscores the urgent need for the central government to address the ongoing attacks by Kuki and Meitei militants attempting to enter Indian territory from Burma. Meitei terrorists from Burma attempted to enter Indian territory in Manipur's Dinopol district but were confronted by village volunteers, leading to a clash. The incident occurred near the India-Myanmar border, specifically between border pillars 80 and 81, located between Govazang village and Kwata village. Unfortunately, one village volunteer lost his life in the encounter, and the Meitei terrorists were forced to retreat back to Burma. Notably, the area between border pillars 80 and 81 lacked proper border fencing, making it vulnerable to easy crossing. According to reports, the Meitei terrorists had initially entered Kwata village, leading to an attack on the Kukizo community, resulting in casualties. Bumsong Hang Singh, president of Churchampur and Persol District Education Employees Union, issued a notice summoning for an emergency general body meeting on 7 September 2024 between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Synod Hall, IB Road, Lamka. The reason for the meeting, he stated, as to cope with the ever-changing education scenario in India. Education department employees are compelled to discuss and decide the future of the employees' future course of action to meet the challenging of imparting quality and sustainable education systems in our district, including several welfare schemes. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh said that the armed forces need to be prepared for war to preserve peace. In his address at the first ever Joint Commanders Conference, JCC, in Lucknow on Thursday, Singh touched upon the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and Gaza, as well as the situations in Bangladesh, and exhorted the military to analyze these episodes and stay prepared to deal with the unexpected. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh said India is a peace-loving nation and stressed the need for the armed forces to be prepared for war to preserve peace. He underlined the importance of unified approach, calling for the evolutions of joint military vision to effectively tackle future security challenges. The defense minister also referred to over 4-year border narrow with China along the line of actual control (LAC) in eastern Ladakh and called for a deeper analysis of the situations. Despite global volatility, India is enjoying a rare peace dividend and it is developing peacefully. However, due to increasing number of challenges, we need to remain alert, he said. It is important that we keep our peace intact during Amrit Kaal. We need to focus on the present, keep an eye on the activities happening around us, and be future-oriented, he said. For this, we should have a strong and robust national security component. We should not fail-proof deterrence, Singh added. He also called upon commanders to identify and include the right mix of traditional and modern warfare equipment in the armed forces arsenal. He stretched on the urgent need for capability development in space and electronic warfare, describing them as not just important but integral of tackling the complex and evolving challenges of the modern-day battlefield. Singh also urged the military leadership to focus on increasing the use of latest technological advancement in data and artificial intelligence. These components do not participate in any conflict or war directly. Their indirect participation is deciding the course of warfare to a great extent, he added. A massive protest erupted outside the Sanjwali Masjid in Himachal Pradesh, Simla, with members of BJP, Hindu organizations, and local residents demanding the demolitions of what they allege to be an illegal mosque. The issue divided the ruling Congress as its own minister supported this demand. The controversy over the mosque intensified on Wednesday after heated discussion in the Himachal Pradesh Assembly, which is in session. Congress MLA Haris Zanartha and Minister Anirudh Singh clashed over the mosque legality. Zanartha had argued that there was no tension in the area and claimed that the mosque, built before 1960, had 3 additional stories, constructed illegally in 2010 on Waqf board land. He said not only outsiders but local Muslims were living in the mosque, and that illegally constructed toilets had been demolished. Zanartha accused certain elements of exacerbating the issue. A fire broke out in Mumbai's Times Tower building on Friday morning. As many as 9 fire tenders rushed to the scene. Firefighting operations are underway. No injuries have been reported so far. According to Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation's BMC official, the fire broke out in the Times Towers building in the Kamalas Mills compound of Lower Parel area on around 6:30 a.m. on Friday. The fire brigade has declared it a level 2 major fire and sent 8 fire engines and other firefighting vehicles to the spot. Fire is confined to electric duct from the 3rd to 7th floor at the back of 14-story commercial buildings with a glass facade, officials noted. The cause of the fire is unclear yet. In a similar incident, a major fire had broken out at Industrial Estate in Mumbai. There was no report of injury to anyone in the blast. The fire had erupted at the Vidayal compound in Darukana locality on Ray Road and was confined to single-story godown. Russia's primary aim is to take full control of the Donbas region of Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin told the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok on Thursday. The enemy's goal was to make us nervous and worry and to transfer troops from one sector to another and to stop our offensive in key areas, primarily in the Donbas. Did it work? No, Putin said. He also said that Ukraine's incursion into Russian region of Kursk had failed to slow Russians' own advance in eastern Ukraine and had weakened Kyiv's defenses along the front line in the push to Moscow. He added that Russian forces were now gradually pursuing Ukrainian soldiers out of Kursk, where on August 6, Ukraine launched the biggest foreign attack on Russia since World War II. Ukraine had weakened its defenses elsewhere and allowed Russia to accelerate its push into the eastern Donbas area, he said. Putin, who ordered tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine in February 2022 in what he called a special military operations, said it was now the sacred duty of the armed forces to expel Ukrainian forces from Kursk and to defend Russian citizens. Ukraine's top commander has said that one of the objectives of the Kursk operation was to divert Russian forces from other areas, primarily in eastern Ukraine near the cities of Pokrovsk and Purakov. Though the Kursk incursion was an embarrassment for Putin and the top military press, Russian officials are now portraying it as one of Kyiv's biggest tactical mistakes of the war, saying it ties down thousands of troops for little real gain. By transferring rather large and well-trained units to these border areas with us, the enemy weakened itself in key areas, and our troops accelerated offensive operations, Putin said. Ukrainian president has said Kyiv planned to hold territory in Kursk and that the operation, which he says is part of not fully disclosed victory plan, has brought the war home to Russians. Russian forces were taking chunks of territory in eastern Ukraine more swiftly than ever, and that recruitment rates were increasing in Russia. No actions is taking place to contain our offensive, Putin said. He said Russia's advance on the eastern Ukrainian city of Borovsk was successful. Russian forces, which control 18% of Ukraine, have been advancing in eastern Ukraine since the failure of Kyiv's 2023 counter-offensive to achieve a major breakthrough. Although the Kremlin says that the conditions for peace talks with Ukraine do not currently exist, Putin named China, India, and Brazil as potential mediators and repeated his view that an initial agreement reached in the first weeks of the war at talks in Istanbul, which was never implemented, could serve as a basis for talks. Alan Liesman, often referred to as the Nostradamus of U.S. presidential elections, has made a bold prediction for the 2024 presidential elections, asserting that Democratic nominee Kamala Harris will emerge victorious. In an exclusive interview with NDTV, Liesman, who has accurately predicted 9 out of 10 U.S. presidential elections, stated that Harris will defeat Republican nominee Donald Trump. Liesman's forecasting method, known as 13 key notes, 13 keys to the White House, is a revolutionary approach that accesses various factors to predict election outcomes. The method involves a series of true or false questions related to critical aspects such as party mandate, contest, incumbency, third-party influence, short-term and long-term economic conditions, foreign policy success, social unrest, and the charisma of both the incumbent and the challenger. If 6 or more keys go against the White House party, they are predicted losers. Otherwise, they are predicted winners, Liesman explained. According to his analysis, Kamala Harris has secured 8 of the 13 keys, which Donald Trump has only 3. Liesman detailed that Harris has successfully met the criteria for several keys, including the party mandate and contest keys. However, he noted that the Democratic Party had lost the incumbency key due to President Biden not running for re-elections, as well as the incumbent charisma key. Democrats have avoided the loss of the contest key due to party uniting around Harris, but they have also lost the incumbency and charisma keys, Liesman said, adding that these factors support his prediction that Harris will retain the White House. Liesman acknowledged that two keys related to foreign policy remain uncertain. The success or failure of foreign military engagements, particularly in the Middle East and Ukraine, could influence the outcome. He noted that these keys are difficult to predict due to fluid nature of international conflicts. The only other two keys that are shaky are the two foreign policy keys, because the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine are so fluid, this man explained. He speculated that these keys might split, resulting in Harris being down 4 keys. However, even if both foreign policy key turns negative, Harris would still be the one key short of defeat, with all other keys favoring her. At least 17 students have been killed and 13 others have suffered serious burn injuries after a dormitory school in Kenya caught fire, Associated Press reported on Friday, quoting police. The death toll is likely to rise, the report added. The cause of the fire that engulfed the dormitory at Hillside in the Russia Primary Neri County on Thursday night is under investigation, police spokesperson Rashila Onyango said. We are investigating the cause and will take necessary action, she said. School fires are common in Kenya boarding schools, where many students stay because parents believe it gives them more time to study without long commutes. Some fires have been started by students during protests over the workload or living conditions. In 2017, 10 high school students died in a school fire in the capital, Nairobi. A 14-year-old student killed 2 fellow students and 2 teachers, while wounding 9 others in a shooting at Georgia High School on Wednesday, just weeks after classes began, authorities said. The shooting was the first of the new school years in the U.S., a stark reminder of the threat of gun violence in schools and colleges across the nation. The shooting left 4 dead at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, and 9 people were taken to hospitals with various injuries from gunshots, investigators said at a press conference. The suspect, identified as Colt Gray, 14 years, a student at school, was in custody and will be charged and tried as an adult. The suspect was speaking with investigators, but they declined to say if they knew what motivated him. They also did not say what type of gun was used in the shooting. What we see behind us is an evil thing today, Sheriff Jude Smith said during a brief news conference on school grounds. Smith said that his deputies quickly responded to the shooting after the sheriff's department got word of active shooter around 10:20 a.m. The gunman was confronted by deputy in the school and the boy immediately got on the ground and surrendered, Smith said. The incident, which took place at the school around 50 miles, 80 kilometers northeast of Atlanta. Local TV stations broadcast images of parents lining up in cars on a road outside the school, hoping to be reunited with their children. The school, which had an enrollment of nearly 1,900 last year, began classes on August 1. ABC News quoted a witness, student Sergio Caldera, as saying he was in chemistry class when he heard gunshot. Caldera, 17, told ABC his teacher opened the door and another teacher ran in to tell her to shut the door because there's an active shooter. As students and teachers huddled in the classroom, someone pounded on the door and shouted several times for it to be opened. When the knocking stopped, Caldera heard more gunshots and screams. He said his class later evacuated to the school's football field. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday named India as one of the 3 countries he remained in regular contact with regarding the Ukraine conflict, acknowledging their sincere effort to help resolve it, according to state-owned TASS news agency. Speaking at the plenary sessions of the Eastern Economic Forum EEF in Vladivostok, Putin, as quoted by U.S. media outlet Politico, said, "If Ukraine had the desire to continue negotiations, I can facilitate it." His remarks came just weeks after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic visit to Ukraine, where he held talks with President Vladimir Zelensky. We respect our friends and partners, who I believe are genuinely working towards resolving this conflict, particularly China, Brazil, and India. I am in constant contact with my colleagues on this matter, Putin was quoted as saying by TASS. Putin added that Russia has never been opposed to peace talks, citing the negotiations that occurred during the early weeks of the conflict in 2022. Are we ready to negotiate with them? We have never refused this, but not only the basis of some ephemeral demands, but on the basis of those documents that were agreed and virtually initiated in Istanbul, Putin said. In a separate statement, Russian President spokesperson told Izvestia Daily that India could play a role in facilitating dialogue on Ukraine, highlighting the highly constructive, even friendly relations between PM Modi and Putin. Peskov noted that the Indian Prime Minister can receive first-hand information from those directly involved in the conflict, as he freely communicates with Putin, Zelensky, and the Americans. Peskov emphasized that this positions India to use its influence to encourage the US and Ukraine to adopt greater political will and move toward peace talks. However, he added that there are currently no specific plans for PM Modi to mediate in the conflict. That's all from us tonight, and we thank you for joining our program.